carburetor the person me. No, the member, me share. Why, Mr. O? Oh, yeah. Me carry yes, some company. Carry Jimmy, you see. Come here.
And then you do.
Ade,
Obia wouldn't make book appointment. Wouldn't say no who discovered them. What should I have a take out so the car as
come here and tell. Debut, Minia. When you are Bruno, some man be catching you. Make us just can make my idea is Canada. Master, she has a kind of judge and run the coffee to move. Ade,
but that's as natural that they be over.
as a man,
no one for the policy for the policy. I was a father by Jimmo. What you pay that the son, Macatos, a young two of pay.
For 2 years, I language, Martin. Obit myself, Father Benjamin, with my
Papa Roma, and then you have some cars in Sia, and then Suzuki Waha, the design, the Sonata, Passat, Kia, Toyota, in our.
Hey,
no, be our TV sound of Maria Bagana. Get it to say, our policy out 1 million.
Massa, and the son said, yeah, a quite be so, a same year from my language, Martin.
Caught no Cacachu, or one of taxi, Uber for in a catch up, say, one of Wallace Martin. This is what the policy for the upper, other than the Benjamin. Jeffrey Coleman, Namoko Tobano, I see
The great transformation plan.
Your game is weak. Our tones just like your party's policies. No wonder you are heading straight to the opposition this election.
Come on, bro. With your 24 hours something, are you trying to say the chop bar woman will be 7 before 12 midnight?
And you, with your digitalization talk, how is that going to help the chop bar woman sell more fufu and soup? Are we going to use credit card at the chop bar?
Hey, you two, enough of this back and forth wahala. Politics and governance isn't just about manifestos and empty promises. It demands a comprehensive plan. That's why Alan Chematin is bringing the Great Transformational Plan, GTP. Listen, the GTP is about real change. It is built on 6 key clusters. First up, the economic cluster. This is about fixing the economy, creating jobs, supporting local businesses, particularly small businesses, and helping our farmers, fishermen, and those in tourism to grow. Next is the governance cluster. Under this, Alan is focused on fighting corruption, strengthening our institutions, and ensuring transparency. No more shady deal. It is also about deepening local governance and decentralization.
Wow.
Wait, there's the infrastructure cluster. We are talking about better roads, railways, reliable energy, digital services, and real housing for all. Not just empty talk. The social services cluster also focuses on healthcare, quality education, and support for the youth and the vulnerable. Everyone deserves a fair chance. And the environment cluster is about managing our natural resources to create wealth, addressing climate change, and promoting sustainable environmental practices. We want to leave a clean Ghana for the next generation. Finally, the behavioral and mindset change cluster highlights how we Ghanaians can realize a change in conduct to be better and more responsible citizens. Imagine this: jobs, quality healthcare, real education, and leadership with integrity. That's true transformation.
Ali, the GTP is indeed a game changer. Wow. So where can I get a copy?
Don't worry, I will get you one. So I ask you, when I say vote Alan Chematin, what do you say?
Kai kura DNA. Kai hamajuni say. And no kana biko fitemu. Hey, adia some company. Oh. Ada how do you know? Ada kuni.
Afrafranto do mo drivers. Aden.
Me abutre Mr. Wa. Dabi nyabo dabi yeah. Ode mama hwe minim say carburetor the person me. No de me wa me hwe. Why Mr. Wa. Yeah, kai. Adia some company. Kai Jimmy o. See.
Apede.
Ah, come here.
And then should be no.
Aden.
Obi a wo ni mabuku appointment. Wo ni say na also discover baby. What should I say be car so the car sell.
Come here anti sao. Debi o minia. When you bra bere no. Sam na me ka kire o. Me ka jo say ken me yaduma e scanner bro. Master si say ka ni je. Enwa am de computer mu. Aden.
Akasa asemi na chew da bia wo fa.
Asambe ya.
Na bola ko do chemate. For the policy for bia ba. The policy ya wase fada da ba dem no. O tika ida da sa makato so yantu aba mo papa yi.
From tu jini se alankoji chemate. Obetuma ya se fada da ba dem no no. Obetuma ya.
Papa da roma ene ya sambe cars. Ensia e wa ha. Ene Suzuki wa ha. Ye design, ye Sonata, Passat, Kia, Toyota, Nina wa ha.
Hey,
no be what to be this animal we are Ghana. Get to say, our policy are going to be.
Massa, and the son said, yeah, a quite be so, a same year to my alankoji chemate.
What the catch you, one of taxi, Uber for in a catch up, so one of one could do chemate. This is what the policy for Japa, other than the bedroom. To finish, when Namoko to Abano, I see
The great transformation plan.
Your game is weak. Our tones, just like your party's policies. No wonder you are heading straight to the opposition this election.
Come on, bro. With your 24 hours something, are you trying to say the chop bar woman will be 7 before at 12 midnight?
And you, with your digitalization talk, how is that going to help the chop bar woman sell more fufu and soup? Are we going to use credit card at the chop bar?
Hey, you two, enough of this back and forth wahala. Politics and governance isn't just about manifestos and empty promises. It demands a comprehensive plan. That's why Alan Chemating is bringing the Great Transformational Plan, GTP. Listen, the GTP is about real change. It is built on 6 key clusters. First up, the economic cluster. This is about fixing the economy, creating jobs, supporting local businesses, particularly small businesses, and helping our farmers, fishermen, and those in tourism to grow. Next is the governance cluster. Under this, Alan is focused on fighting corruption, strengthening our institutions, and ensuring transparency. No more shady deal. It is also about deepening local governance and decentralization.
Wow.
Wait, there's the infrastructure cluster. We are talking about better roads, railways, reliable energy, digital services, and real housing for all. Not just empty talk. The social services cluster also focuses on healthcare, quality education, and support for the youth and the vulnerable. Everyone deserves a fair chance. And the environment cluster is about managing our natural resources to create wealth, addressing climate change, and promoting sustainable environmental practices. We want to leave a clean Ghana for the next generation. Finally, the behavioral and mindset change cluster highlights how we Ghanaians can realize a change in conduct to be better and more responsible citizens. Imagine this: jobs, quality healthcare, real education, and leadership with integrity. That's true transformation.
Ali, the GTP is indeed a game changer. Wow. So where can I get a copy?
Don't worry, I will get you one. So I ask you, when I say vote Alan Chemating, what do you say?
Do not assume that your name is in the register. Go personally to your polling station.
Driver, I beg, turn off the radio. Nobody is voting this year. I repeat, no one is voting.
Hey, my brother, cool down. What's going on? Why the heat?
I won't waste my time standing in a long queue under the scorching sun to vote for nothing.
Charlie, my brother, I feel you. After all these years of NDC and NPP, what do we have to show? Nothing.
Nothing at all.
In 2000, we said, MPP go fit do better. We gave them the chance. In 2008, we said, NDC go fit change things. We gave them the chance. In 2016, said again, let's give MPP another shot. And now 2024, we want to repeat the same broken cycle. Hey, no go work.
You are not wrong, oh. This is why me, no they follow that path anymore. This duopoly has to break. That's why I say we should support Alan Kwejo Chiramatin. This man will transform Ghana for real with his great transformational plan. Alan Chiramatin is credible, competent, and experienced. With him, it won't be the same old, same old. As for me and my whole family, we are solid yellow army.
Hey, my guy, you are making sense. Oh, for the first time, I feel hope. No more wasted boots. It's Alan's time.
Movement for change, for change, for change, Ghana rise again. Together we win, we win, we win, Ghana rise again. Movement for change, for change, for change, Ghana rise again. Together we win, we win, we win, Ghana rise again. Butterfly movement for change. Alan, butterfly movement for change. Hey, Alan, 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 Alan. Under the great transformation plan. Castle, factories, business, we are here. Schools, we are Benjamin. Movement for change, for change, for change, Ghana rise again. Together we win, we win, we win, Ghana rise again. Movement for change, for change, for change, Ghana rise again. Together we win, we win, we win, Ghana rise again. On the 7th December, no. Listen to Aban Maalan. To Aban Maalan. On the 7th December, here to Aban. Here want to Aban Maalan. Oh, yeah, change. Movement for change, for change, for change, Ghana rise again. Together we win, we win, we win, Ghana rise again. Movement for change, for change, for change, Ghana rise again. Together we win, we win, we win, Ghana rise again. Butterfly movement for change. Alan, butterfly movement for change. Hey, Alan, 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 Alan.
Afrafranto on the ballot paper. Don't look left. Don't look right. Share Asiona. Vote for Alan Kojo Tremantin. Afrafranto. Movement for change. For a better Ghana.
For change, Ghana rise again. Together we win.
Kai kura DNA. Kai hamaduni say. And no kana biko fitemu. Adi asum company. Oh. Adada de hajuni adada kuni.
Afrafranto do mo drivers. Aden.
Me abutre Mr. wa. Dabi dabi o. Yeah. Ode mama hwe minim se carburetor the person knows me. Do the member me wa me hwe. Why Mr. wa. Ni kai adi asum company. Kai jimi o. See.
Apiede.
Come here.
Anesu bi no bo.
Aden.
Obi a wo ni mabuku appointment. Wouldn't say no so discover baby. What should I say the car? So the car sell.
Come on, I'm just out. Debio, Minia. When you grab Bruno, some man be catching you. Make a dozen can make my idea. Canada. Master, she has a kind of judge and run the coffee to move. Aden, but that's not sure that they be over. As a man, no one for the police for the policy. I was a father by Jimmo. What you pay that the son, Macatos, a young two of them pay. From 2 years, Alan Cojition Martin, with my father that Benjamin, with my Papa Roma, and then there are some cars, and then Suzuki Waha, the design, the Sonata, Passat, Kia, Toyota, in our. Hey, no, be what to be this animal we are Bagana. Get it to say, our policy out 1 million. Massa. And the son is said, yeah, a quite be so a same year to my Alan Cojucha Martin. What look at you, one taxi, Uber for in a catch of one of Cojucha Martin. This is what the policy for Japa, other than the bedroom. Jeffino, when Namoko Tobano was here, I see a great transformation plan.
Your game is weak. Just like your party's policies. No wonder you are heading straight to the opposition this election.
Come on, bro. With your 24 hours something, are you trying to say the chop bar woman will be 7 before at 12 midnight?
And you, with your digitalization talk, how is that going to help the chop bar woman sell more fufu and soup? Are we going to use credit card at the chop bar?
Hey, you two, enough of this back and forth wahala. Politics and governance isn't just about manifestos and empty promises. It demands a comprehensive plan. That's why Alan Chemating is bringing the Great Transformational Plan, GTP. Listen, the GTP is about real change. It is built on 6 key clusters. First up, the economic cluster. This is about fixing the economy, creating jobs, supporting local businesses, particularly small businesses, and helping our farmers, fishermen, and those in tourism to grow. Next is the governance cluster. Under this, Alan is focused on fighting corruption, strengthening our institutions, and ensuring transparency. No more shady deal. It is also about deepening local governance and decentralization.
Wow.
Wait, there's the infrastructure cluster. We are talking about better roads, railways, reliable energy, digital services, and real housing for all. Not just empty talk. The social services cluster also focuses on healthcare, quality education, and support for the youth and the vulnerable. Everyone deserves a fair chance. And the environment cluster is about managing our natural resources to create wealth, addressing climate change, and promoting sustainable environmental practices. We want to leave a clean Ghana for the next generation. Finally, the behavioral and mindset change cluster highlights how we Ghanaians can realize a change in conduct to be better and more responsible citizens. Imagine this: jobs, quality healthcare, real education, and leadership with integrity. That's true transformation.
Ali, the GTP is indeed a game changer. Wow. So where can I get a copy?
Don't worry, I will get you one. So I ask you, when I say vote Alan Chemating, what do you say?
assume that your name is in the register. Go personally to your polling station.
Driver, I beg, turn off the radio. Nobody is voting this year. I repeat, no one is voting.
Hey, my brother, cool down. What's going on? Why the heat?
I won't waste my time standing in a long queue under the scorching sun to vote for nothing.
Charlie, my brother, I feel you. After all these years of NDC and NPP, what do we have to show? Nothing.
Nothing at all.
In 2000, we said, NPP go fit do better. We gave them the chance. In 2008, we said, NDC go fit change things. We gave them the chance. In 2016, said again, let's give NPP another shot. And now, 2024, we want to repeat the same broken cycle. Hey, no go work.
You're not wrong, oh. This is why me, no they follow that path anymore. This duopoly has to break. That's why I say we should support Alan Kwejo Chiramatin. This man will transform Ghana for real with his great transformational plan. Alan Chiramatin is credible, competent, and experienced. With him, it won't be the same old, same old. As for me and my whole family, we are solid yellow army.
Hey, my guy, you are making sense. Oh, for the first time, I feel hope. No more wasted boots. It's Alan's time.
I see a
movement for change, for change, for change, Ghana rise again. Together we win, we win, we win, Ghana rise again. Movement for change, for change, for change, Ghana rise again. Together we win, we win, we win, Ghana rise again. Alan, butterfly, movement for change. Alan, butterfly, movement for change. Hey, Alan, 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 Alan. Under the great transformation plan. Castle, factories, business, we are here. School, movement for change, for change, for change, Ghana rise again. Together we win, we win, we win, Ghana rise again. Movement for change, for change, for change, Ghana rise again.
Oba, Krata, me remove granny some more kind. Mean kind see, Nanso, and some woman walk Canada. Some parts of Krata, Neniswa, any dear, and I check a better Sagana Pan.
I was saying, can you cook a show? Sebefio Manosumaye. You send him dear or and no matter do away. And you Ghana Hankwan. Just say a man mine, ebe friend, ebe fano, walk away, you mamma woman. Now you will never say a yet day and a yapuno.
Alan dear, or any pebia, and I boni dinner. Ghana for P and shed any no. Na yen my atram record there. Alan dear, bush time no. Rice and I know here in the Secretary of State, you know. So what can modern war Alan abo bruche. Yes, the homogeneous na and they would say no not doesn't be America. From
time immemorial, the sin is so blessed. You can't take anything away from him. No. I am saying this for Pampan to Jose. Some years to come, Papa will Eduma Waya Magana and only a baby home.
And then we have one son, Ama Yura Alan Cash. Yes, some because I'm PPD and Yamo, I'm PPD Kuya, the Sober Hay and Fabo Teswa. A human here, yeah, bright. I'm PPD, Yabra,
Hello there, very good evening to you. Welcome. This is the Afrafranto Youth Dialogue, and we're very excited about what we're about to do today. We've got just 6 days to election 2024. And like you've heard over and over again, Ghana is at a crossroads, and we need to go to the polls to go and choose a leader. And by now, you should have already made up your mind who it is that you want to vote for. But if you haven't, we have an alternative for you today. And of course, what we're going to do here today is definitely going to ensure that you know exactly who it is that you want to use your thumb to elect in this upcoming election. Now, with the Afrafranto Youth Dialogue, we want to focus on the most important population of this country, which is the youth. The youth in this country form a majority of the 32 million Ghanaians. And if the youth of this country are secured, the future of this country is also secured. That is why it is important that anyone who is contesting to become president has a very comprehensive plan for the youth of this country. And one such candidate today is going to help us understand exactly what his plan is for the youth of this country. And obviously, once I mention the Afrafranto Youth Dialogue, you may already know the candidate that I am talking about. He's number 13 on the ballot when you go to the polls on the 7th of December. Today's program is going to be in two parts. First of all, we're going to hear from the man of the moment. He's going to outline that plan that he has for the youth. It is a 10-point plan. And of course, it's in line with his great transformational plan. You may well know by now that the GTP is not just like any of the other political party manifestos. No, this is a plan. It is straightforward. It tells you exactly what is going to be done to make sure that this country is lifted out of the doldrums. And so the 10-point youth plan is also in line with a great transformational plan. It's going to highlight that for us. And after that, there is going to be a Q&A session. Of course, he's going to sit down and he's going to answer any questions that you may have with regard to his plan to uplift the youth of this country. The theme for this youth dialogue is securing the future of the Ghanaian youth. And of course, it tells you just how important the Ghanaian youth is. And so this is live, of course, on the Station of the Nation, GTV. It's also live on all the social media handles of Alan Kyerematen. We're talking about Facebook, we're talking about Instagram, we're talking about X. And so if for any reason at all you're stepping out of the house and you cannot be behind your TV set, just get onto any of these social media handles and you'll be able to watch. And of course, as you're watching, you should be noting your questions down because you'll get the opportunity to ask all of those questions. We're excited about what we are going to do here today, and we're very happy that you have tuned in this evening here on the Station of the Nation. Now, before we hear from the man of the moment, we want to find out exactly who he is. I'm pretty sure you already know, but for those who do not know, we're going to give you a very detailed profile of the man of the moment who is going to be addressing us in a jiffy. Candidate for the 2024 general elections in Ghana. He's a former Minister for Trade and Industry. He's the founder and leader of the Movement for Change, which is a political organization established to inspire and lead the process to change and transform Ghana into a prosperous, united, and peaceful nation. And he's also the leader of the Alliance for Revolutionary Change. Of course, you know that he was appointed in January 2017 by President Akufo-Addo as Minister for Trade and Industry and resigned honorably in January 2023 after 6 years of service to pursue his presidential ambition. Mr. Kyerematen had previously served in a similar capacity as Minister for Trade, Industry, and President's Special Initiatives under former President John Agyekum Kufuor, and that was between 2003 and 2007. And prior to that, he served as Ghana's ambassador to the United States of America from 2001 to 2013. Alan has an extensive and distinguished record with international trade, public policy, enterprise development, politics, diplomacy, and law. And he was a senior trade policy advisor to the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. He was also regional director for the UNDP's flagship program for the enterprise development in Africa, Enterprise Africa, establishing enterprise support for programs in 13 African countries. And as Minister for Trade and Industry, he led the implementation of the government of Ghana's industrial transformation agenda, which is anchored on a 10-point plan, including One District, One Factory initiative, the establishment of strategic anchor industries, including the automobile industry, the development of small and medium-scale enterprises, the establishment of industrial parks and SEZs, including the Greater Kumasi Industrial City, and enhancing exports development in Ghana. Mr. Alan Kyerematen was the leading architect of the African Continental Free Trade Area project between 2011 and 2012 and successfully led Ghana's bid in 2018 to host the headquarters secretariat of the AFCFTA here in Accra. So prior to his role in politics, Alan Kyerematen was responsible for establishing and managing Emprotech. That's the Emprotech program in Ghana, a leading business development institution sponsored by the United Nations. And he led the transformation of Emprotech from a UN project into an independent foundation, which is recognized as a world-class institution and best practice model for entrepreneurship development in Africa. Now, between the year 1984 and 1990, he managed a number of major private and public sector consulting assignments in Ghana, and as a principal consultant and head of public systems management with the Management Development and Productivity Institute, a leading management development institution in Ghana. And prior to this, he was a senior corporate executive with UAC Ghana Limited, a subsidiary of Unilever International, where he worked in various managerial positions with distinction, I must add. Now, Alan Kyerematen is a graduate in economics from the University of Ghana. He is also a qualified barrister at law from the Ghana Law School. In addition, he is a Hubert Humphrey Fellow of the School of Public Affairs and the School of Management of the University of Minnesota in the USA under the U.S. Fulbright Fellowship Program. And his secondary school alma maters are Disadel College and Achimota School of Cape Coast and Accra, respectively. And Alan was born on the 3rd of October 1995 in Kumasi in the Ashanti region of Ghana. He's married to Patricia Christabel Tremanting, and they are blessed with 2 sons, Alex and Victor. Ladies and gentlemen, with a resounding round of applause, let's welcome the man of the moment, Alan Kojo Tremanting.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lamta.
You're welcome, sir.
Good evening to you all. My dear youth of Ghana, let me start by expressing my profound gratitude to all those who are taking part in this historic youth dialogue, either in this studio or on various digital platforms, conducting from within Ghana and around the world. Last Saturday, I had the honor and privilege to host a youth concert in honor of the young people of Ghana, and in particular those who are engaged in the creative industry. It was by all standards a great event and a night to remember. My dear young people, I've gone to great lengths to invest in these activities, first to demonstrate my full commitment to developing a new generation of young leaders for our country. And secondly, to give hope to you in the midst of the very serious challenges that you are currently confronted with. I've made public pronouncements, which I would like to re-echo on this platform, that 60% of all political appointments under my presidency will be reserved for young people. I also made a commitment earlier on in the year that I will appoint and choose a young vice presidential candidate. I'm very pleased that I've fulfilled that commitment by nominating as my vice presidential candidate and running mate a young man aged 40 years with a distinguished career in showbiz, in media, in sports, in the legal profession, and as a corporate executive, in the person of Kwame Owusu-Danso, who is sitting here with us. Kwame, let's see you. So if my vice president is 40 years, then it means that right from 25, you still have a chance in my government. In the general election in 2020, 10 million out of the 17 million registered voters were aged between 18 and 35 years, representing almost 60% of the voter population. With the current population of voters for the 2024 general election estimated at 18.7 million, this percentage of close to 60% of young people in the voter population will not be significantly different. What this means is that the young people of this country can't decide who becomes the next president of our republic. I have therefore no doubt in my mind that issues relevant to this group should be at the forefront of the policy debate for this general election. It is against this foregoing that I have outlined a comprehensive 10-point agenda for the Ghanaian youth empowerment and employment. Regrettably, the two dominant parties, the NPP and the NDC, who have been in power in this country for the last 32 years have failed to respond to the challenges confronting the youth of this country. The manifestos of the two parties, in addition to the public pronouncements of the presidential candidates of these two parties, do not in any material way provide a compelling case for dealing with the challenges of young people, particularly the problem of youth unemployment. I have therefore convened this youth dialogue to enable me outline my vision and policy agenda for youth empowerment and youth employment in Ghana, and to provide an opportunity for the young people of our country to comment on same. This is what has brought us here this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll therefore proceed to take you through some of the policy interventions that I'm proposing to deal with in terms of youth employment and youth empowerment. These interventions have been categorized under 10 main headings. First, youth in entrepreneurship. A, design and implement a comprehensive national program for graduates of all tertiary institutions to start a small business under a new program, Start Your Own Business, SYOB, with financing from a Youth Entrepreneurship Development Fund, which will be established. It means that after tertiary education, every young person in Ghana who has gone through tertiary education will be given an opportunity to start their own business. So the option is not for you to be looking for a public sector job. Your first option is to take advantage of this offer of being in business, which will be created for you by President Alan. Secondly, for those of you who are interested in going into trade or commerce, I will establish a traders bank to boost financial inclusion and support for young people who want to go into formal and informal trading. You know that if not for anything at all, at least after tertiary education, for you to stay at home, it should not be an option. At least you can take advantage of the Traders Bank and get a soft loan to start your own business. C, install 100,000 health screening booths. 100,000 health screening booths. In case you get confused about what booths are. The other way of describing it, kiosk, health kiosk. But really, these are nice, elegant booths. Now, these booths will be installed at vantage points in all communities to provide health screening for early detection of lifestyle diseases, such as diabetes, such as high blood pressure, cholesterol, so on and so forth. It doesn't make sense for any Ghanaian to have to walk to Kolebu or Komfanoji or to a hospital just to have his blood pressure tested, or even to test for diabetes. First, it puts pressure on these hospitals, and then also the other ways of making this possible. And that is why I will establish these 100,000 screening booths. It means that even if for any reason you are not interested in starting your own business, you have an opportunity to own one of these 100,000 booths, either as a graduate or even after SHS, because it's not a complicated exercise. Once you have a good monitor and the kit to test for these lifestyle diseases, you can be in business right from the beginning. And then D, in order to support youth entrepreneurial activities, an Alan presidency will mobilize all the 67 business resource centers. When I was Minister for Trade and Industry, I established 67 business resource centers, very well equipped, which you can walk into and help you with business opportunity identification and actually help you go through a counseling program to help you start a business. You may not be naturally endowed even to understand what kind of business I would do. So all you need is to just decide that I want to start my own business. You can walk into any of these 67 business resource centers which are established, and then they will start you off to help you identify different business opportunities, and then also walk you through and babysit you through the process. Now, in addition to these 67 business resource centers, there are 200 business advisory centers dotted all over the country. These are, I would say, smaller business resource centers. So you can imagine that there's nowhere in this country where if you really are serious about starting your own business, that you cannot get help to do so. So this is youth in entrepreneurship. Then youth in industry. I will create employment opportunities for young people in 10 new strategic industrial sectors. You know, in Ghana now, for over a century, we have been focusing on only the cocoa industry. Frankly, there's very little else that Ghana is associated with except for cocoa. And to some extent, gold. But you know, the gold industry is really not localized in Ghana. Yes, we have the gold, but everything is mined and exported. But it doesn't make sense that as Ghanaians, smart as we are, that we cannot think beyond the cocoa industry. So I've initiated the establishment of 10 new strategic anchor industries. 1, vehicle assembly and component manufacturing. And I've already demonstrated that when I'm not part of the NATO politicians, no talk, action only. When I talk, I make sure that it happens. So even before becoming president, I made sure that 5 out of the 6 global top companies in the world are all assembling cars in Ghana. Nissan, Toyota, Volkswagen, that's VW, Kia, Hyundai, Suzuki. I mean, let's face it. I mean, if you can have all these, because our market is very small. So for all these major companies to be rushing to assemble cars here, there must be something great that Alan was doing for them to be attracted. And remember, this is not just about foreign companies, because Kantanka has had probably the best opportunity out of all these assembly companies. And if you look at the range of Kantanka vehicles, you would understand why I'm saying that there's something in what I've initiated in Ghana. So that's just one of the new strategic anchor industries. Can you imagine how many people can get employed? There are people who have finished, technical school and mechanical engineering in University of in tech. They have no hope of ever getting into a job that will use the skills that they've acquired. But I'm not stopping at vehicle assembly. Before I left office as minister, I also initiated the establishment of components, including spare parts. So if Alan becomes president, within a matter of 2 years, we'll not just be assembling cars, we'll also be producing our own components and spare parts. And the interesting thing is that when I go through these new strategic anchor industries, you understand why I'm so confident about what I'm talking about. Number 3 is garment and textiles. Can you believe that a country like Bangladesh earns over $30 billion, not million, $30 billion just from sewing garments and exporting to the US? What are we doing in Ghana? We have good tailors, we have good seamstresses, except that we have to coach them, that when they tell you 2 weeks, come and collect your dress, you'll find it. But there's so much opportunity just for garment and textiles. A country like Bangladesh is making 30 billion. It means that even if we're making half of it, it will be 10 times more than we are making from cocoa. So that's the 3rd one. 4th one is pharmaceuticals. We are importing over 70% of our medication requirements. 70%. So you can imagine if we develop the pharmaceutical industry, can you imagine how many people will now go to Faculty of Pharmacy in Ghana? Because now you'll be able to produce at least 80% of your medical requirements. And this should also reduce the amount of foreign exchange that we use in importing this medication. Apart from the fact that we can then also now export to the rest of Africa. The next one is the petrochemical industry. We found oil around 2007. We are making the same mistakes that all the African oil-producing countries have made. The same mistakes. We extract the oil and we export the oil and gas. And we go and buy fuel back in Ghana. Young people, does this make sense? So under an Alam presidency, we are going to develop the petrochemical industry. We are going to add value to our oil and gas. Because if we add value to our oil and gas, you can get plastics. Maybe you may not be aware that plastics are generated. They are residues, just residue from processing oil. We can get fertilizer from adding value to our gas. So there is a whole new world of opportunity that will be available to you young people in the petrochemical industry. It means that if you finish SHS and you even decide that you want to go into tertiary education, now you understand the opportunities available to you. It's either pharmaceuticals, oil and gas, garments, all these things are available to you. Then it's the bauxite and aluminium industry. Ghana has high quality bauxite, and unfortunately we've never been able to add value. Under an Allen presidency, we'll start adding value to bauxite, and that's where we will get steel. When you add value to bauxite, you get steel, and you know what steel does. Then iron and steel. No, sorry. When you add value to bauxite, you get aluminium. You get aluminium. So that's one other industry that we are developing. And then we have high-grade iron ore. Many of you may not be aware of this. If you add manganese to iron ore, you get steel. So you get plastics from oil and gas, you get aluminium from bauxite, and you get steel from iron. There goes all the components for manufacturing parts for the vehicle assembly. So I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. Then the next one is industrial salt. Ghana is one of the few countries in Africa that has deposits of industrial salt. This is industrial salt. And industrial salt is the basic raw material for caustic soda. For caustic soda. It's out of caustic soda that you have alum, which is used as a purifier for water. So the connection and connectivity is amazing. And unfortunately, even though we can mine almost 3 million tons per annum of industrial salt, we have never mined more than 100,000 tons. We can mine 3 million tons every year. And you need industrial salt to be able to process oil and gas. So even if we just concentrate on industrial salt, which is called white gold, we'll be in business. But that's not all. Then industrial assembly of electrical and electronic appliances. We are importing air conditioners. We are importing microwave. We are importing electric fans. Are we serious? Even in the 60s, in Ghana, we were manufacturing or assembling Akasanuma fridges, Sanyo television. So all these things can be done. I'm not talking theory. I know what I'm talking about. And that can be a major employment opportunity for young graduates, particularly those who go into technical schools. Then vegetable oil, particularly oil palm. Again, sometimes it's such a pain to be discussing this. Can you imagine that Malaysia, which learned how to cultivate oil palm from Ghana in the 60s, they earn $20 billion, not million, $20 billion every year for oil palm alone. Oil palm and its derivatives. So what are we using our oil palm for in Ghana, apart from palm nut soup and zomi? So there we are. In addition to this is industrial starch from cassava. I was the first person to produce industrial starch in Ghana, which was used to produce the first cassava beer in Ghana. I'm sure many of you don't know that. Cassava is seen as a poor man's crop, so people don't respect it. But the kind of money you can make from cassava alone, you have no idea. Do you know that every tablet you swallow has an element of starch in it? Yes. And sometimes when you drink carnation milk, you think you are drinking cow milk. You are not. 40% of it is pasteurized vegetable oil that you are drinking. So all these things that I'm talking about is real. Last but not the least is manufacturing, machinery and equipment. You cannot industrialize as a nation and not have the capacity to produce some of your own machinery and equipment. So you see, even for just industry, I've given you 10 new strategic industries for those young people who want to go into industry. Now, it doesn't end there. Youth in agriculture. Create employment opportunities for young people in agriculture, particularly in what I call strategic agricultural commodities, such as the following. 1, food crops and tubers. Food crops and tubers like maize, rice, cassava, millet, sorghum, and sweet potatoes. Most of you don't know that Guinness Ghana has been literally pleading and begging for people to supply them with sorghum to brew Guinness. So if we say we are poor, or we have young people who don't have a job, you have a ready market. If you only decided that you wanted to go into sorghum, you have a ready market waiting for you. I don't want to make you feel sad, but that is the reality. Now, then horticultural products, such as fruits, vegetables. The whole Gulf region, name Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Oman, all of them, they import their fruits and vegetables from around the world. And so if you had young people who were targeting just this horticultural industry, this is big business. And then last but not the least, for tree crops, we have cocoa, cashew, coffee, coconut, and mangoes. So I'll establish a creative arts development fund to support young artists, filmmakers, musicians, and content creators in the literary arts. Normally when we talk about the creative industry, it's not just music. We have music, we have dance, we have filmmaking, we have theater arts, we have fine arts, So all these are different components just of the creative industry. And so here you have an opportunity of getting financing from this creative fund. And then you are on. And then I'll introduce new legislation and regulations and enforce existing ones to protect intellectual property rights. Those of you in creative industry, this is a big problem. Then, just to run through this quickly, youth and the digital revolution. When I talk digital, I mean practical, real digital. So I'm saying that because I, even though I'm not a technical man, I have 4 different tech products that I've created myself. Trade Africa Online, the Afrafranto app, which is competing with Donald Trump's Truth Social. So I develop tech products myself, So I would support digital content creators, including influencers, bloggers, vloggers, by facilitating access to training and global market exposure. There are some very good bloggers around here, but if I expose them to the international market, you see that they will soon become very, very big. And also the monetization of the content they generate. The unfortunate thing is that there are many people in the creative industry, they are not monetizing what they create. And that, for me, will be my interest. And then offer tax rebates and other incentives to telcos in order to reduce significantly the high cost of internet connectivity, particularly for young people. I mean, the cost of data is incredible. And that's part of the reason why our young people don't find opportunities in the digital space. And then I'll facilitate and support the establishment of what we call business process outsourcing companies. There are companies, you sit here in Accra and be processing medical records for people in the United States and parking tickets. These are all opportunities that will create hundreds of thousands of jobs for young people. When you go to India, Jamaica, this is one of the leading industries. And then I will create 100,000 hotspots around the country at various vantage points that will provide free satellite internet connectivity. Free satellite internet connectivity. And this is a major development in the digital space. Number 6, housing for the youth. I will develop a new innovative affordable home ownership scheme for young people in employment. And that's why I'm so keen on making sure that my young people have a paycheck. Because if you have a paycheck, you can own a house under Alan Chamartin presidency. And it's very simple. This is just through mortgage financing. All your brothers and your cousins abroad who claim they have homes and houses, it's all backed by mortgage, 30-year mortgage. We can do the same in Ghana, just because you have a paycheck. And I'll guarantee you a paycheck if you're young in Ghana. And then I would also introduce new provisions under our existing Rent and Rent Control Act and legislation to abolish the requirement of multi-year advance rent payments for young people. Sorry, the man has just come out of school. The man has just come out of school. He's a struggling man. And you're asking him to bring 2-3 years advance. It doesn't make sense. Then promote community-based and grassroots sports development across the country to identify and groom young talents in various sporting disciplines. This is youth in sports. I also facilitate investments in world-class new generation sports facilities, not just our traditional football, in swimming, in different new generation sports. And the young people will start making a living, and not just a living, you will find that they will become international stars just through these new investments of youth in sports. Then 8, youth in environmental conservation and climate action. I'll launch the Youth in Responsible Mining Initiative, under which young people who are currently engaged in illegal mining, that's galamsey, they will be supported to establish their own youth-owned companies. Now, the unfortunate thing is that these young boys, they are being used by politicians and by other people who have access to these mining leases, and then they just use them at the risk of their lives. And you know how much they pay them? 200 cedis a day. I'm going to make sure that we cancel all those leases and concessions that have been given to particularly political appointees, and then give it to these young people. And it's not just about having a license. I will create companies for them. Pull them into groups, create companies for them, and provide seed capital for them to acquire all the type of machinery that they need to go into responsible mining. And so they will get the concession, they will get the mining leases, they will get the equipment, they will also get working capital. Because for me, that's all the young people need, so that they are not being used by politicians and other people. Now, this, I can tell you, if we don't have time, this will end Galamsey within a matter of 1 year. I can assure you. Then, number 9, opportunities for internship and apprenticeship. Every SHS graduate, and listen to me carefully, it's not just the graduates from tertiary institutions who are complaining. Even SHS graduates are also complaining. Now, I'm saying that every SHS graduate will have 5 options available to him or her after graduating from SHS. Now, when you finish SHS, you are not just going to work directly to tertiary education. You know, Bill Gates, because they had the opportunity of working after high school, immediately they entered university first year, they realized that this is not for me. Because of the opportunity after high school to work. It's going to happen in Ghana. And so we are saying that if you finish SHS, you have 5 options available to you. First is that you'll be engaged as an apprentice. That's if you are inclined more towards the crafts and the trades. And this is not asking you to go and find money from your poor parent to go and pay a master to engage you. This is government now paying the master to give you a 1-year opportunity to be an apprentice. Now, number 2, if you are not inclined towards trade and skills and crafts, then government will pay you to go into a company, formal employment, not public sector job, into a company, a private company, as an intern. If you ask anybody who has traveled around the world, the only reason why you find that young people can get into big jobs right after graduation is because of internship. The opportunity to have an intern in a company, you know. So at least within 1 year, you have an opportunity to prove yourself, you know. And if you do well, then you stay. Many people have been employed because they were interns in it. So it's either as an apprentice or as an intern. And you don't need to go and beg to become an intern. Government and Allen presidency will pay the company to recruit you as an intern. Number 3, if you are not interested in option 1, you are not interested in option 2, but you somehow are excited about being in the military, I'll give you an opportunity to go into the military or to the police or the security agencies, at least for 1 year. You don't need protocol. You don't need anything. You can get access to the military for 1 year. After 1 year, if you prove yourself, you'll be retained. Even if you are not retained, you'll be enlisted as part of the National Reserve Force, which is the most important thing Ghana needs now to support our security agenda. And after 1 year in the military, my God, you sit up and you have a yeah. And then option 4 will be that if you are not interested in any of these 4 options, but right after SHS you feel that you can succeed in business, we will give you a grant funding for you to start your own business. So it is only when after all these 4 options you feel that you are not interested, then you start going to university or tertiary education. It means that before you enter university or any tertiary institution, your mindset will be different and you understand the world of work. You understand the world of work. So even when you are in university, you can be running your own business. And that's how it works. Now, the foregoing means that there will be no child in Ghana who would finish SHS and not have an opportunity to be employed under an Alan presidency. The 10th one is the 3 million jobs under an Alan Kyerematen presidency. You know, for all these things that I've been talking about, I don't want to be the traditional politician, promise and fail politicians. That's not what I want to be. So I've already created a digital app called the 3 million jobs app. And in order to provide entry point for all the jobs that are going to emerge from all the things that I've been talking to you about this evening, this youth employment digital platform will provide that opportunity for you even before 7th of December, for you to go and upload your CV on this platform and indicate your areas of interest, all the things I've been talking about. It's all profiled there, and you can indicate which area you think you would like to enter as a young person. And then when Alan becomes president, within a year and a half, you are guaranteed a job. Now, let me close in conclusion. Dear young people of Ghana, that I would like you to have faith and trust in me. And also the comprehensive program for youth empowerment and employment that I've just outlined. And I will introduce all these measures if I become president. To reflect your commitment and conviction about what I've told you this evening, I would like to urge you on Saturday, 7th of December, to vote for Alan Kyerematen and the butterfly symbol. Vote Aseo. I'm the last on the ballot paper. God bless you, and God bless our home. We ran out of time. We ran out of time. No. Okay, we are okay. Okay.
All right. More round of applause. All right. I'm pretty sure you get an idea of what Alan Kyerematen wants to do for the youth of this country. And I'm pretty sure you may have questions as well. If you have any questions, note the questions down. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll sit down with him and then we'll ask some questions as to how all of this is going to be made possible. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Kai DNA. Kai Hamaduni say. And no kind of book of it. Hey, I be some company. Oh, Ada how do you know? Ada.
Afrafranto do more drivers. Aden.
Me abutre Mr. Wa. Dabi. Oh, Dabi. Yeah. But mammy minim say carburetor the person new. Do the member me share. Why, Mr. Hey, Kai, yes, some company. Kai Jimmy, you see. Come here.
And then she will go.
Aden.
Obi a wouldn't make book appointment. Wouldn't say no to discover them. What should I have a car? So the car is
come here, Mrs. Debbie, Minia. When you grab Bruno, some man be catching you. Make us a second and me my idea is Canada. Master, she has a kind of and run the coffee to move. Aden, a cast natural that they be over. As a man, no one for the policy for the policy. I was for that bedroom. What you pay that the Sam Macatos a young to a bomb of pay. From 2 years, Alan could use a matter. Obit myself for that bedroom. No, bit my papa and then there are some cars. And then Suzuki Waha, the design, the Sonata, Passat, Kia, Toyota, in our. Hey, no, be what to be the sound of Maria Bagana. Get it to say, our policy out to win. Massa, and the son is dead, yeah, a quite be so, a same year to Alan Kyerematen. Look at your one taxi, Uber for in a catch up, so one of Alan Kyerematen. This is what the policy for Japa, other than the bedroom. The Finako, when Namoko to Bano, I see a great transformation plan.
Your game is weak. just like your party's policies. No wonder you are heading straight to the opposition this election.
Come on, bro. With your 24 hours something, are you trying to say the chop bar woman will be 7 before at 12 midnight?
And you, with your digitalization talk, how is that going to help the chop bar woman sell more fufu and soup? Are we going to use credit card at the chop bar?
Hey, you two, enough of this back and forth wahala. Politics and governance isn't just about manifestos and empty promises. It demands a comprehensive plan. That's why Alan Kyerematen is bringing the Great Transformational Plan, GTP. Listen, the GTP is about real change. It is built on 6 key clusters. First up, the economic cluster. This is about fixing the economy, creating jobs, supporting local businesses, particularly small businesses, and helping our farmers, fishermen, and those in tourism to grow. Next is the governance cluster. Under this, Alan is focused on fighting corruption, strengthening our institutions, and ensuring transparency. No more shady deal. It is also about deepening local governance and decentralization.
Wow.
Wait, there's the infrastructure cluster. We are talking about better roads, railways, reliable energy, digital services, and real housing for all. Not just empty talk. The social services cluster also focuses on healthcare, quality education, and support for the youth and the vulnerable. Everyone deserves a fair chance. And the environment cluster is about managing our natural resources to create wealth, addressing climate change, and promoting sustainable environmental practices. We want to leave a clean Ghana for the next generation. Finally, the behavioral and mindset change cluster highlights how we Ghanaians can realize a change in conduct to be better and more responsible citizens. Imagine this: jobs, quality healthcare, real education, and leadership with integrity. That's true transformation.
Ali, the GTP is indeed a game changer. Wow. So where can I get a copy?
Don't worry, I will get you one. So I ask you, when I say vote Alan Kyerematen, what do you say?
Do not assume that your name is in the register. Go personally to your polling station.
Driver, I beg, turn off the radio. Nobody is voting this year. I repeat, no one is voting.
Hey, my brother, cool down. What's going on? Why the heat?
I won't waste my time standing in a long queue under the scorching sun to vote for nothing.
Charlie, my brother, I feel you. After all these years of NDC and NPP, what do we have to show? Nothing.
Nothing at all.
In 2000, we said, NPP go fit do better. We gave them the chance. In 2008, we said, NDC go fit change things. We gave them the chance. In 2016, said again, let's give NPP another shot. And now, 2024, we want to repeat the same broken cycle. It no go work.
You are not wrong, oh. This is why me no they follow that path anymore. This duopoly has to break. That's why I say we should support Alan Kyerematen. This man will transform Ghana for real with his great transformational plan. Alan Kyerematen is credible, competent, and experienced. With him, it won't be the same old, same old. As for me and my whole family, we are solid yellow army.
Hey, my guy, you are making sense. Oh, for the first time, I feel hope. No more wasted boots. It's Alan's time.
change, oh, Ghana rise again. Together we win, oh, we win, oh, we win, oh, Ghana rise again. Movement for change, oh, for change, oh, for change, oh, Ghana rise again. Together we win, oh, we win, oh, we win, oh, Ghana rise again. Alan, butterfly, movement for change. Alan, butterfly, movement for change. Hey, Alan, 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 Alan. Under the great transformation plan, castle, factories, business, we are here. School, so dirty, we are Benjamin, so Benjamin, so Benjamin. Butterfly movement, Yabano de Yabo. Yabano Trematiabo, Yabano de Yaba. Yabe Wurajina Mwamagana Konani. Yabano Trematiabo, Yabano de Yaba. It's the butterfly movement, Yabano de Yabo. Yabano Trematiabo, Yabano de Yaba. Yabe Wurajina Mwamagana Konani. Yabano Trematiabo, Yabano de Yaba. Movement for change, oh, for change, oh, for change, oh, Ghana rise again. Together we win, oh, we win, oh, we win, oh, Ghana rise again. Movement for change, oh, for change, oh, for change, oh, Ghana rise again. Together we win, oh, we win, oh, we win, oh, Ghana rise again. Tuaban Mahalan, on the 7th December, no, here Tuaban, listen Tuaban Mahalan, Tuaban Mahalan, on the 7th December, here Tuaban, here what Tuaban Mahalan, oh yeah, change you. Yabano de Yabo, Yabano Trematiabo, Yabano de Yaba, Yabe Wurajina Mwamagana Konani, Yabano Trematiabo, Yabano de Yaba, it's the butterfly movement, Yabano de Yabo, Yabano Trematiabo, Yabano de Yaba, Yabe Wurajina Mwamagana Konani, Yabano Trematiabo, Yabano de Yaba. Movement for change, oh, for change, oh, for change, oh, Ghana rise again. Together we win, oh, we win, oh, we win, oh, Ghana rise again. Movement for change, oh, for change, oh, for change, oh, Ghana rise again. Together we win, oh, we win, oh, we win, oh, Ghana rise again. Alan, butterfly, movement for change. Alan, butterfly, movement for change. Hey, Alan, 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 Alan.
Afrafranto on the ballot paper. Don't look left. Don't look right. Share Asiona. Vote for Alan Kojo Tremantin. Afrafranto. Movement for change for a better Ghana.
For change, oh, for change, oh, Ghana rise again. Together we win, oh. Hey, change,
Kai kura diene kai hamaduni say ena kwana bi ko fitemu adi asum krampani oh adada de haduni o adada kuni
Afrafranto do mo drivers aden
me abutre misre wa dabi nyabo dabi o de mama hwe minim se carburetor se personal le mi do de me wa me hwe wa misre wo ni kai di adi asum krampani kai jijimi o se
Apiade.
Come here.
And then you do.
Aden.
Obi a wo ma buku appointment. Wouldn't say no so discover the what should I have a car so the car sell.
Come here and tell. Debi o minia. When you brabere no. Some na be catch you. Make us just can me ejuma is Canada. Master see her car dey and ram the coffee temu. Aden.
Akasa asemi na chew da de bia wo fa.
Asambe ya.
Na bola nkodo chemate. For the policy people bia ba. The policy I was for that be dem no. O chika ida da sa makato so yantu aba mo papa yi.
Kontu ni se alankoji chemate. Obetuma ise fada da be dem no. Obetuma ya.
Papa ya da roma ene ya sambe cars. Ensia e wa ha. Ene Suzuki wa ha. Ye design, ye Sonata, Passat, Kia, Toyota, nyina wa ha.
Hey,
no be what to be this animal we are Ghana. Get to say, that policy I want to mean.
Masa, And the son is there, a quite be so, a same year to my Alan Kojucha Martin.
Taxi, Uber for in a catch up, say, one of Alan Kojucha Martin. This is what the policy for Japa, other than the bedroom. Jeffino, Namoko Tobano, I see
The great transformation plan.
You're welcome back. You're still watching GTV, and this is the Afrafranto Youth Dialogue. We've just witnessed the very first part of this, where Alan Kyerematen, who is leading the movement for change, has outlined his plan for the youth of this country, 10-point plan for the youth of this country. And obviously, I'm pretty sure a lot of you have a lot of questions. And so we are coming to the Q&A session. Now, we're going to be doing this till 6 p.m. on GTV. But after 6 p.m., the program continues on the live stream of all GTV's social media handles, and of course the social media handle of Alan Kyerematen. And so if you have any questions, you can send the questions to the social media platforms. You can see a WhatsApp number at the bottom of the screen as well. You can send those questions there, and we'll be very happy to put the questions to Alan Kyerematen for him to answer those questions. Of course, the studio audience have their questions as well, and we're going to be taking all of those questions. But to break the ice, I'm going to go along and ask the first question. Honorable Kyerematen, that was a very beautiful presentation that you put out there, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the youth who have been listening are pretty excited about the things that you've got in store for the youth. My first question to you is this. We live in a country where we are saddled with a lot of debts. Our debt is in excess of 700 billion. And we've done a debt exchange program, which means we're going to have to struggle to pay a lot of our debts. But here you are with your GTP and your 10-point youth plan, with all of these lofty ideas. And the question is, where is the money going to come from? Because we have very little fiscal space. So where is all the money going to come from for you to be able to implement these plans that you have?
Thank you very much. It's an excellent question. In the first place, we had no business going on such a reckless borrowing spree. I call it a debt trap, not debt. No, debt trap. Not death trap, debt trap. Where, it's almost as if, because you can get a loan and you want to do A, B, C, D, you have to go borrow. And we were accessing the international capital markets, the Eurobonds, as if we had no commitment to pay back. So that was very unfortunate. This is basically what has landed us into all these difficulties. Because what happens is that the amount of money you even pay in debt servicing, just servicing your debt, chops up all your revenue. You're spending all your revenue on debt servicing and then paying the emoluments of public sector officials. So there's virtually no money to, Now, number one, during an Alan presidency, we will ensure that we bring the debt to sustainable limits. Because why is it that, for example, government has to borrow 21 billion Ghana cedis to fix a supposed financial sector problem, which could have been solved with $9 billion, 9 billion Ghana cedis. I don't know whether you get what I'm saying. Government comes into office 2017, that there are challenges, albeit some difficult challenges with some local banks. You withdraw their license. Ordinarily, you need only 9 billion Ghana cedis to pay off, the outstanding commitments, and then they will be back in business. And then from there on, you start regulating them. Because the lack of regulation that had created all this, So now you borrow 21 billion Ghana cedis to finance financial sector reform. So it means that you are incurring excess of 21 billion minus 9 billion to supposedly fix a problem. I'm just giving one example to show you how we got into this debt trap. Under my presidency, it ain't gonna happen. That's number one. So we'll bring our debt to sustainable levels. Right. Number two, I've given an indication that I will run an enterprise economy. What an enterprise economy means that the government will withdraw from financing public infrastructure, whether it's roads, whether it's hospitals, all the infrastructure that sucks all our revenue is all going to stop. At least majority of that is going to be private sector driven. Okay. So if it's roads, it's now going to be financed with private sector financing with incentives from government. This is what happens all over the world. The private sector are giving concessions to construct roads, to construct airports, to construct hospitals. Most of the top-class hospitals, tertiary hospitals in the United States are owned by the private sector, including foundations of universities. So you find that Harvard, for example, owns maybe 80% of the stocks in a particular major hospital. That's the way it works. But in Ghana, government wants to be the financier of all projects, even though you don't have the money. Right. So that's also going to stop. We are going to work with the private sector now to find the money to be able to invest in all this. And then, of course, with regulation, because the fact that you're allowing them now to finance projects does not mean that they are left on their own, with oversight and regulation. So it means that you are going to free all these resources, which under normal circumstances, our budget is going into roads, is going into schools, is going into education, and so on and so forth. Because that's where the money goes into. Then you would have money to finance these projects which actually develop the economy. Right. And that's where I feel that we need to focus our attention. Last but not the least is the money we are going to save from corruption. I tell you how much money we lose as a country from corruption, you'll be amazed. And all that savings can be used to fund most. Because remember, what we are financing under these initiatives is to increase the productive sector of the economy. And remember, when you create these initiatives and people are employed, when they are employed, they will pay tax on their personal income. And that is how government gets revenue, not on charging unnecessary taxes on production. Because the government has a certain unfortunate attitude about how to collect taxes. They think it's easy to put taxes and duties on imported goods. That's why we have all those taxes at the ports. And that's what makes prices very high. That is not the way it works in most advanced countries. That is indirect tax. Rather, make the companies work, get people to be employed. And then when they are employed, you can then ask them to pay part of that in taxes. So those are the three ways of dealing with that.
All right. Thank you very much for that response. And so we'll come to the studio audience. I will take 4 questions at a go. And then Honorable Alan will answer the questions, and then we do it that way. Let's also remind you that if you are watching us on our Facebook live stream, on any of the social media handles of GTV and Alan Chamantin, you can also send in your questions. I'll be very happy to ask those questions. So there is a microphone, and I see some hands up. So let's start with the gentleman over there with the first question.
Hello.
So tell us your name, and then you can ask your question.
Okay, my name is Daniel Teikuju from the University of Ghana.
Right.
All right, so my question to Mr. Alan is more like about taxation. We've seen in previous governments how tax on imported goods had been increased most often. So we want to ask, how are you going to go about it to the extent that what we the youth get our monies from, which is most of the time sport betting, that one too tax had been imported or had been placed on those avenues as well. So what are you going to do about tax? And that is my question. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for your question. There's a gentleman in white over there, so let's pass over the microphone to him. Let's get a lady next. The ladies also have to ask a question. Yes. Your name?
My name is Eugene
right.
Opoku, and my question or suggestion in a way is that I've actually gone through his policies. I've heard them, and I know he's like the right man for the job. I know he's capable of what he's done, like he's going to do, because I've heard of the things he's done. I've seen them. So my kind of question or this thing is he willing, right, to, let's say, sign a contract which says that all his promises or the things he wants to do, will he be able to do it in 6 months? And if he's not able to do it in 6 months, he's going to resign. I hope you understand. So it's like we yeah, exactly. We can't, like, we've always waited for 4 years to always make sure that the person does what he wants to do, and then we give him another chance again. Why not, like, sign a contract with the Ghanaians and say that, look, these are my policies that I will do in 6 months. If I'm not able to do it, I'll go to jail for 10 years. No, I'm just saying. No, so
right,
that
so with this, is it 6 months for the 10-point youth plan or 6 months for the entire GTP?
He will present the policies he feels he can do.
Okay, so a set of policies you want him to do in 6 months.
Exactly.
And then if he doesn't do it, he should go to jail.
Yeah, he'll go to jail for 10 years. When we do that, then people will be restricted by the contracts they've signed.
All right, I think your question is clear. All right, so give it to the lady over there. Yes, she has a question. There's also another hand over here. So this will be the third question, right? And they will take the fourth question, and then he'll take the answers. Yes.
Good evening, Chief. My name is Jessica, and I work at the campaign office. So someone asked the question, and I read. So I was in a car from UPSA to Abilinkpe, and I engaged 3 children. They were 7, 11, and 9 respectively. I asked them why they were not in school, but they were indifferent. So I asked them where their parents were, and they pointed to a woman just across the road. It was disheartening to see the children in that condition. So her question is, what specific policies or initiatives will you implement to eliminate child labor in Ghana, particularly in sectors like agriculture, mining, and domestic work? How will you ensure the enforcement of these measures when you become president next week by this time? And I know that there are agencies like the social welfare who are supposed to manage the institutions, but obviously, and I know there are agencies that, like the social welfare, who are supposed to manage the situation, but obviously they are not as functional as we expect them to be. So please, we want to know the way forward. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's get the microphone to Okay, you already have the mic. Yeah. Fine. You go the next round. All right. What's your question?
With my question, I want to ask
your name first.
My name is Samuel.
All right, Samuel.
Okay. You mentioned about providing helping liaising with the banks to provide loans for the youth who have complete with their university education to start their own businesses. I want to ask, here is the case in our country, when you are going for a loan, you have to go along with the collateral. Like maybe when you don't pay the loan, they should confiscate this from you, this or that from you. But we, the students from university, we are now out from the university going to start our lives. We don't have any property at home. So what will you do to help us to get those loans to start our own business?
All right.
What was the name again?
Samuel.
That was Samuel's question. Okay. So, Honorable, you answered the questions. Yes. Let's also remind viewers that this is not just live on GTV, we're also live on Pan-African TV as well. So, good evening to all the viewers of Pan-African TV this evening. Honorable, please, let's answer the question.
Yes, I think, Daniel, you kind of mixed up the question a little bit.
Yeah.
But let me try and unpack it. First, I will abolish the tax on betting, because there are many other ways of mobilizing, optimizing government revenue. If you go to the US in particular, that's the environment that I'm familiar with, and you go to the big I would say, casino centers, Las Vegas. I mean, big businesses there only because they have betting, they have casinos, and because that's basically the economy in Nevada and those. And it survives only because it is zero tax. That's how come you get people from all over the world going there to have, first to establish businesses in betting and other areas along those lines. But then also people go there because there is no tax on those things. So I think that it was unfortunate that the government, because of their lack of capacity to appreciate where they can get revenue from, then launched on this exercise just because they are looking for money. Anything they can tax, let's go ahead and tax it. So I will eliminate it. But you are then confusing it with taxes and duties at the port, because I've already said, because really that's not connected with this, but I've already said that I will eliminate most of the taxes and duties at the port, because that is the wrong way to mobilize revenue. Make the companies succeed, lower the taxes, and then they can compete. After that, if you ask them to pay corporate tax, I mean, they know they've made enough money. So our tax regime has been turned upside down, and that's what I'm saying I will overturn. And I'll have the lowest tax regime in the whole of ECOWAS if I become president.
The lowest tax regime?
Yes.
All right. So then there was a question from
by Eugene.
Yes.
Eugene, on signing the contract.
Yes, social contract.
This is a very interesting proposal. I am very confident about the kind of things that I'm proposing that I would do and put in place. Now, so part of my agenda is, I call it a citizen's contract, but I guess it's the same thing. So it's not only because you are talking about it, but if you read my GTP, I have a proposal for a citizen's contract already in it, which is predicated on a commitment to ensure that all the policy interventions that I've outlined, that they will be executed. So we are talking about the same thing, except that I did not attach a sentencing. But you see, I think it's very important because it shows the level of frustration of the people. I can't believe it that these two parties who have been giving us manifesto promises for 32 years end up not doing most of them. They've still started the same song, rhythm, making promises, wild promises. Right. And not backed by substance.
Chief, before you carry on, let me just quickly announce that we are going off GTV now, but we are continuing because there is a live stream, and of course we're also live on Pan-African TV as well, and so we'll go off. For our GTV audience, you can join us on the social media handles of GTV and Alan Chamanting, and also join us on Pan-African TV as we're continuing with this Q&A session. Thank you very much for that, but of course,
so Eugene, my citizen's contract is part of what you get will be grant, part of it will be equity, meaning that they will provide the money to you not as a loan, but over a period of time when you start making money from your business, then the share that they take in your company now will be reduced over a period of time because you are paying not off a debt, but the fund would take an equity position in your company, provide you money not as a loan, but they will take part of the equity. So, for example, if you need 100,000, part of it will be grant, part of it will be equity. So the fund will take, let's say, 40% shares in the company. And then also the rest of the money, which is debt financing, that's a loan, will be collateral free. Will be collateral free and interest free. I hope you understand what I'm saying. As the Americans will say, it doesn't get better than that. You are getting part of it is grant, part of it is equity, meaning no cost to you. And even the part that is a loan, which is debt, it is collateral free or security free, and it's also interest free. So there's nothing that you want to do under Alan's presidency which you cannot do, because basically you have funding that can start you off just like that. Yeah.
All right. I hope you're okay. Okay, so we'll take our next round of questions. I will take 3 questions. We have some questions from our Facebook live stream. So we'll take 3, and then I'll read 1 question from our audience online. So the gentleman in the pink shirt, let's get a microphone over to him. And then there is another gentleman at the back, and then a lady in front here. All right.
Thank you so much. My name is Chris from the disability community, and also from the non-communicable disease community, and that's NCDs. I was so happy when you mentioned 100,000 health screening booths. It means that you understand the need for, financing when it comes to NCDs, non-communicable diseases. But I have a concern, though, and there's a question: how are you going to ensure that there is meaningful involvement of persons living with these conditions in decision-making bodies when there are international policies, for example, like the WHO framework on meaningful involvement of persons living with mental health, neurological conditions, and NCDs in general? That is just for that part, because I believe that with meaningful involvement, you are then making the right impact, like, for example, what Kenya did a couple of years ago and what other African countries are beginning to inculcate and embrace. So that's just for what you proposed. The second question has to do with disability and with all of the enterprises and opportunities for jobs that you mentioned. How are you going to embrace the employment equity policy by the Ghana Federation of Disability Organizations, for example? This policy ensures that persons with disabilities are well captured within the framework of the job market, so that we don't become an afterthought. Most often than not, you have persons with disabilities being, last when it comes to thinking of, how do we bring them on board? How are we making environments accessible? If you remember, Ghana signed a moratorium in 2007, ensuring that all public offices or public spaces are made accessible.
Right.
That was a 10-year moratorium. It never came into fruition. How are you going to ensure that? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So let's make sure that our questions are very snappy, straightforward, straight to the point. There's a gentleman over there. Yes, ask your question. Very snappy, straight to the point.
Yeah, my name is Nick Nyame. So I was very happy when you spoke about the Galamsey issue. So, but you didn't talk about the fact that you spoke about giving the youth lances and capital for the mining, but you didn't speak about the fact they are destroying our lands and water bodies. And 2, my second question is, how do you plan to ensure that the job opportunities you create are sustainable and provide long-term benefit for the youth?
All right. Thank you very much, Nika Nyami. All right, there's a lady here. I thought we were passing. You have the microphone? Yes, pass the microphone to her, yes.
Okay. My name is Kerry. My question is, how can the government ensure equitable access to public benefits and resources, preventing favoritism and ensuring fairness for all citizens. Because we've seen instances where the government announced the sharing of laptops to SHS students, and then we only see those people whose mothers are working with the government having it, whilst those of us whose mothers are traders and all, we didn't get some. So we want to know.
All right, thank you very much. So, fourth question, to some of the questions, I'll read one question from our online audience. This one says, my name is Kofi Amo from Nsawam. You talk about youth who want to go into agriculture or farming. I know two major problems farmers are facing has got to do with herdsmen who use their cattle to graze on farmers' crops, and sand winning, which is destroying our land as well as Galamsey. What will you do about these problems so that the youth will not regret investing their time and energy as well as their finances in the agriculture industry? Thank you. So that's one question from our online audience as well. So
very quickly. I start with Chris. I think the idea of the 100,000 screening booths, it's meant to provide access to, as I mentioned, early screening of these diseases. Now, I wasn't too sure about the import of your question, whether you were talking about having access to these booths. I wasn't too sure the dimension you wanted, but maybe I can quickly answer then you can come back on the first one. The employment equity policy, you are preaching to the converted, and I have a section on PWDs in the GTP, which speaks exactly to that point. In fact, I've even gone further, that it will be an intentional and conscious policy of my government now to provide incentives to companies to then increase the level of PWDs who are working in their company. So it's not just that you are encumbered by the policy or by the law, but you actually incentivize companies to do more than the quota that they would ordinarily have been required to meet under the policy. And then also, you talked about entry, access to public office. See, in Ghana, there's so much lack of indiscipline and lack of respect for the rule of law that, frankly, it's difficult to understand how, as a country, we've allowed this to go on. Because this is a question of enforcement. And I cannot understand how people get away with it. People don't respect the building codes. They don't respect anything. And that is why the last cluster in my GTP is about attitudinal and mindset change. So I'm not talking about these big ticket initiatives without dealing with the mindset of Ghanaians, because that's part of the problem. What you're talking about is a straight-on lack of respect for rules of law and regulations and everything.
All right.
So I've already reflected that in GTP. But if you can quickly make reference to what you...
Okay, and if you can be very brief because of time, because we have just about...
Well, you were making reference to the
about
boots,
15 minutes more.
the 100,000 boots,
So I made reference to that because you give the impression you understand how important non-communicable diseases are affecting the youth.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is absolute.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that looking at international policies that exist to protect persons living with NCDs, how are you going to make that a part in terms of meaningful involvement? You see, sometimes
meaningful involvement
of persons living with the conditions in decision making, especially even, for example, in the Ministry of Health or in the Ghana Health Service.
Okay, so there's no sort of discrimination against people with NCD.
Exactly, and they are leading, for example, the Ghana AIDS or AIDS in general, HIV and AIDS. How they did
it's well understood.
Okay.
It's well understood.
So very briefly, so that we can answer
basically that becomes part
questions
of the whole agenda on health service delivery. But of course, we won't have time to get into this. But if you read my GTP, you'll find a direct answer to that. Yes. Yeah.
All right. So to sneak on Yame's question.
Now, on Galamsey. And I'm happy you raised this, because if you read my 10-point plan on dealing with Galamsey, the very first point is to put a ban, a complete ban on mining in river bodies and then also mining in forest reserves. You see, all the two parties are refusing to make a commitment to do that. And I can't see why we can even contemplate bringing back NDC or NDC, MPC or MPP, when they are refusing to make commitments to dealing with Galamsey. They are refusing to make a commitment to ban Galamsey. They are saying that vote for them, and when they come, they will deal with the problem. I have made it clear that there will be a 1-year ban, only 1-year ban. And within that 1 year, a lot of things are going to happen. I'm going to set up all these youth mining companies, and what I told you about. That's when the 1-year ban will take care of that. During that 1-year ban, I know I've been to all the Galamsey sites. They are paid 200 cedis a day, for all the dangerous work there. And I am going to now, as part of the policy, introduce afforestation and tree crop planting, oil palm, all the things that I talked about, youth in agriculture. So we will actually pay them 200 cedis to replace what they are losing. And then now they will become owners of the plantations that will be developed to regenerate the land. So if you listen to me well, they will get one stream of income from the business on regeneration of the land through the planting of oil palm and the rest. They will get another source of income through the new mining companies that they would own, and then they would get, within that 1 year, at least they will get their 200 cedis a day. It doesn't get better than that. Yes. And then also, he was talking about long-term opportunities for sustainable
jobs.
So basically, this is exactly what I'm talking about. If you look at all the employment opportunities and you read the section on the GTP that is focusing on environmental sustainability, this discussion was only on youth employment. But if you look at the entire GTP and you go to the section or cluster that deals with environmental sustainability for everything that is in the GTP, then it directly answers your question. So it's not just providing opportunities for job creation for the young people. You have to do it responsibly. And all that is part of the sustainability plan. Yes.
Right. So if you don't have a copy of a GTP, get a copy of the GTP.
Yeah.
And a lot
it's
of
also
your questions
online,
will be answered.
so a lot of
it's online. So
questions will be answered.
And then
Carrie.
Yes, Karen's question.
Carrie, well, I can only tell you that under my watch, this will not happen. Because I understand exactly what you are saying. But at any rate, this talk about free lab stores, this is all part of the manifesto promises that have been going on. Like, I can only assure you that under my presidency, the issue of corruption, I've said it, it has no space in my, it will have no space in my government.
All right. So there was a final question from our online audience about what you will do about herdsmen destroying farmers' farmlands and sand winning, so that it doesn't deter people from getting into agriculture.
I think that's a very important point.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I did not cover that under the GTP.
Right.
But it's a very important point that I would interrogate and then make sure that I program that into the execution and implementation, because basically it's a warning. It's a warning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So we've got just about 10 minutes more, so we'll take another batch of questions, very snappy. One question straight to the point. There's a gentleman at the back. There's a lady in front here, and there's a gentleman over there. Your hand has been up for a while, so yeah, we'll come to you. Very briefly, yes. Yes, hand over the mic to him.
Please, I'm Boahene Miguel from UPSA.
All right, Boahene.
Please, I want to throw a little bit light on the loans. Please, there's a local saying that if you give black man a chance, he will take 2 inches. Please, in the loan, if you give the person the loan, the person will have to pay back. And if the person is not able to pay, please, what to be the offense given to the person if he's not able to pay the loan?
Okay, all right, very well. There was another hand here. Yes. And then we'll come to you.
I'm Daniel Nyamiye from Legon.
Louder.
Daniel
Nyamiye from Legon.
From Legon, okay.
So when you were talking about your manifesto, you did mention of bringing in the big guns, as in the Nissan, all those car companies in abroad to Ghana to assemble their cars here. But then my question is, how about Kantanka? How is that going to benefit him? Because he also has to make some source of income within the country before involving those outside to Ghana. So my is, how is it going to benefit Kantanka? Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your question. Yes.
I'm questioning you, Desmond. I'm from Legon. And my question is still on the Galamsey issue. Concerning, you said you take care of the afforestation and all that, but what about the lost water bodies? Okay. I've not heard about people talking about that. How are we going to reclaim our lost water bodies?
Okay. All right. Thank you. And there's also another question. It's fair that I do another question from our online audience. This one says, Mr. Chairman, as an independent candidate, how do you plan to foster effective collaboration and cooperation with parliamentarians, considering that you won't have a party's parliamentary representation to support your legislative agenda? So that's one from the audience, from our online audience. So
I'll make it very quick.
Yes, very snappy.
The issue of paying back loans.
Yes.
And I'm very happy that young people sitting in here are beginning already to position themselves in these opportunities. But they are also signaling some of the dangers associated with what is going to benefit them. When people are unable to pay loans that they take, it generally comes from a number of sources. One, either the cost of capital, that's the cost of the loans, there's interest, is so high that literally he's gone for the loan, but technically it is not even possible for him to make any profit to be able to pay back. Number two, sometimes it's a question of the fact that he went into the wrong business. He didn't quite understand the nature of the business. And so obviously you fail. So you can't pay the loan. Number three, there is that interest and anxiety to make sure that your business works. There's no doubt about that. But then you don't have the skills. Maybe you are starting off, Alan has said so many things, they are great, but you are not an entrepreneur naturally. But you are forcing yourself to take advantage of it. Or you have that entrepreneurial spirit, but you don't have managerial capacity. When all these three conditions exist, you will fail and you will not be able to pay your loan. But I've already programmed a response for all that. Number one, I'm saying that if you look at the type of funding that I'm proposing, part of it will be grant, part of it will be equity, which is no cost, and part of it also will be debt but interest-free and collateral-free. So basically, the issue, the first area where lack of capacity to pay comes is dealt with, because literally it's at no cost to you. So you should, if you have the right business, you should not fail. Number two is about just going into the wrong business. I don't know whether I made the point strongly enough, but I said that every young graduate who takes advantage of this business opportunity will have to be mentored and counseled by either the Business Resource Center or the BS. I don't know whether I mentioned, you remember, I mentioned it. So the issue of failure does not arise from that point of view. And then last but not the least is the fact that you would then have support also in terms of mentorship, and then also your business plan and getting it right.
Okay.
So the risks are actually reduced right from the beginning.
All right, very well. So let's move on to the next question, answering the next question.
The next question is in respect of the assembly of cars.
Yes.
And that's by Daniel.
Yes.
I thought I also mentioned Kantaka.
Yes,
that in actual fact,
you did.
You know, we have different grades of licenses that we give to these companies. I intentionally and deliberately and on purpose gave the highest level of license to Kantaka. And so Kantaka now has an advanced license higher than all the others. This is making sure that our indigenous company that had already been in that assembly business also has an advantage. And so if you look at the range of vehicles that Kantaka is producing now, you'll be amazed. And it is all because of this policy. Now he's competing toe-to-toe with all the foreign companies. So I think you guys are really internalizing this, because I didn't want to get into the details. But apart from the temporary ban on small-scale mining, there's also a permanent ban on mining in forest reserves and river bodies. Yeah. Now, within the 1 year of the temporary ban, I've made a commitment in the policy that we will clean all the water bodies in Ghana within 1 year. Because there's technology. This is not rocket science. There's technology. But you can't continue with Galamsey and think that you can clean the water bodies. It ain't going to happen. So that 1 year ban is for a purpose. It allows us also to clean the water bodies and then also put in place the legal framework to ensure that it is not going to continue. Because, and I've even indicated that there is going to be a sanction of life imprisonment. Life imprisonment. If you are found mining in river bodies. Yeah. So it's very comprehensive. You take your time. Every question you are looking is answered in the GTP. But because of limited time.
Yes.
Then I think the
finally, yes, there was one who was asking how you are going to work with parliamentarians to make sure that your policies go through.
I have made a commitment to establish a government of national unity. In fact, this is basically the major thrust of the movement for change. That the NDC and the MPP have divided our country to such an extent that I can tell you nothing is going to change, whether it is MPP or NDC coming to power. Because when you have two giants fighting for 32 years, you should not be surprised that Ghana is not moving forward. So Ghanaians must use December 7th to stop these two parties from destroying our country. And so you cannot come and add yourself to the fight. I'm coming in as a referee, and that is why I'm going to establish a government of national unity. It means that in parliament, and that's why deliberately I did not establish a political party, because I want to be a non-partisan president. That is the only way Ghana can move forward and have peace. If we vote back MPP and NDC, this fight is not going to stop now. Look at what is happening to the Supreme Court and Parliament. Are Ghanaians are interested in continuing this kind of division? No, I don't think so. And so under an Alam presidency, if you are a member of Parliament in NDC and you can get the work done, I'll use you. If you are MPP, if you are NDC, if you are PNC, even if you are not in politics and you can get the job done, I'll use you.
All right. Okay, so...
Sorry? I didn't hear you.
Very well. Unfortunately, we've run out of time here, and so we'll have to be wrapping this up. But the voting process is already beginning. From tomorrow, there is special voting, right? And then in the next 6 days, there is a big day where everybody else is going to go to the polls to go and vote. So, Chief, in just 1 minute, to those who are going to be doing their special voting tomorrow, and of course, everybody else who is watching, what message do you have for them before?
My message for those who are going to vote tomorrow and on 7th December is very clear. The NPP and the NDC have had a chance over the last 32 years to turn this country around. Unfortunately, after 32 years, we are still in economic crisis. After 32 years, we still have doomsday. After 32 years, there are many communities don't even have water. Yep. After 32 years, we have not been able to deal with public housing, basic necessity of life where people will be able to lay their heads. After 32 years, our young people still can't have access to jobs. So on what basis are we going to vote NPP and NDC back in power? And that is why I'm really making a personal appeal and urging the young people of Ghana. You hold the key. You are more than 60% of the voter population. If you all decide to vote for change and you decide to vote for Alan, your circumstances will change. The NDC and the NPP, 60% of the voter population are not committed to either NDC or NPP. So the polls you are seeing around, all the dancing, drumming and dancing you see on television, it has no relevance to the ground. I tell you all sincerely, don't be deceived, because obviously you even don't have a job, so you don't even have the capacity to go down and. But what is happening on the ground? People have made up their minds that if it is NPP and NDC, then they are not going to vote. It is this message, compelling message of the movement of change, that there's still hope, and that is why now people are going to vote. So I want the young people of Ghana to make this their campaign and make sure that they make the next president somebody who thinks and will work for the youth. And that is why I have this youth policy.
All right. Thank you very much, Chief. Thank you so much, Alan Chamanting, for organizing this Afrafranto Youth Dialogue, answering all the questions. We know that there were a lot of questions, especially from our online audience. The team has noted every question down, so watch out for the social media handles of Alan Chamanting. Some of the questions that you asked have been noted down, and in due course, those questions will be answered. And we believe that you now have a very good idea of what the 10-point youth plan of Alan Chamanting is. And if you've not been convinced yet, well, I don't know where your mind is, but you have to be convinced. So if you're voting in the special voting tomorrow, the message has been sent to you. On the 7th of December, also the message has been sent to you, and you know what to do. So once again, a very big thank you to the Movement for Change and the leader of the Movement for Change, Alan Chamanting. And then to everybody who has been watching out there, those who watched on GTV, those who've been watching on social media, those who've been watching on Pan-African TV. We also want to give a special mention to 3mjgh.com, and of course everybody else, and of course to the wonderful studio audience. You've been amazing. Thank you very much. This is where we'll end the Afrafranto Youth Dialogue. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You've been great.
Kago. Amen. Pacho me chia. Sister Pacho. Eni ma me de bra o me bagi misika. Minya se na ka to sisi wani tua sisi niam mu nye na nse ye nfa. Sister Pacho de bi me de niam ma. Oh minya nya bote. From kwa won fa niam mu nye. Pacho ska me de ma wo se fa ya adwuma no. Wo de twa wani ma na. Ni nfa ncha me ne hasa nyama ne du ho. Na nse dwanye ye nfa ade nti na ma bede o kan ti bibia ne a ya nyame ne metua o kan. De minya no. Ena de mi ji misika. Me Pacho. Na de na ate. Minya me ni na break akada me ba customer me de minya ika busumini minya sikantwi ane kan wo dan me ka ogu mani ma afihye wiase nyina asa me de ne ka ana wo dan me ka egu me bia me ne mo nati ya me ka kire mo enu nti na de bia me tuufo
says Sawadjane, because the 32 years in it, Yenya, man, president, dear, or Jenny from. Also, Yaka, a Jenny from the Kulamay, and until Nabualan for Jocha Martin say, what the Jenny first bang, but what to be bidding say, Chisikana fire, Juma. When it's a moon in our one year, Sikana, the year, Jumana, Wotan and Kakran Kakra. Did you say ABC? No Ghana card, no Ghana.